Hello, everybody. My name is Nuria Jaumot-Pascual, and today I'm going to talk about math and making in after school, a pedagogic innovation with Latinx middle school youth. Teresa, Lara-Meloy, and Ken Rafanan are co-authors in this paper and presentation, and the three of us are part of Turk, a nonprofit organization that does STEM education, research, evaluation, and curriculum development in Cambridge, Massachusetts. We're talking about Amped for Making, which is an NSF-funded program that it was a collaboration between Turk and the Cesar Chavez Foundation, which is a foundation in California in the US that works for the community based on the values of labor organizer Cesar Chavez. This 2-year after-school program integrated math and making in semester-long units that used mini-maker projects to lead up to a larger project to benefit the different communities that the youth belong to. And we implemented the community-focused values of labor organizer Cesar Chavez. The implementation of the program was during after school hours at 7 public schools in California. And the facilitators were trained in the program norms, math and maker skills through hands-on activities and modeling of math conversations. The program served over 200 youth, the majority of them being multilingual and Latinx. In the program, as I mentioned, we implemented the Cesar Chavez values, which center around caring for community. So, for making, engage the youth in a blend of design and making, and for the community, which is consequential making that takes into account the needs of the community so that it would enhance and develop the youth's agency and their positive identities as makers, mathematical doers, users, and thinkers, and as community members. And one of the important um, elements of the program as well was the idea of giving back, which is an important value for groups that care about communal values. The literature has found that giving back supports persistence in STEM because it engages the STEM skills that the youth are learning for the benefit of the community, so the youth feel useful and helpful to the community. The curriculum was designed by integrating communal values using a co-design framework to develop the math and making activities that they did. The activities included routines such as the Si Se Puede cheer. It used community-centered topics and projects that went from communities that were closer to further and further from the child, so from family to after school program to school to neighborhood, with an emphasis on peer support, teaching each other, collaborating, etc., and engaging the youth in foundational mathematics, ideas, conversations, practices. We used a mixed methods design for the research, and the data collection methods included pre-post surveys, pre-post math assessments, which we designed, and we have another presentation about them, facilitator reflection forms, facilitator interviews and focus groups, and youth object elicitation, also interviews or focus groups. So object elicitation, which is one of the main data collection methods, is a method that centers the youth interview around an object that the youth have made during the program. Like in this case, this figurine that this girl has made. And the objects embody the youth's knowledge, skills, and attitudes and decenter the interviewer. so that the kids, the youth, are the experts about the object. What did we find? We found that giving back was an important element of what was happening in the program. Youth kept community in mind when making their projects. It wasn't just what they wanted to make, but they also thought about making things that were useful to their family members or friends, or things that others would enjoy. There was, for example, one child who made a horse for his little brother, a horse stuffy. Um, they also made things that represented activities that they did with family or that represented their family's business or beliefs that they held as a family. So one kid made a cupcake stuffy because they wanted to represent how much they like baking together. And also, they would make things that would benefit the entire school or community. So, when the youth were making planters for the school community, they were thinking about what kinds of things they wanted to plant in those planters. So, they talked about flowers, but they also talked about useful things, things that could be important for the community, such as mint or aloe vera. And they were thinking about aloe vera for burns. If someone got sunburned, they could use aloe vera to get better. Here's an example. This is Leo, the boy that I talked about making the horse stuffy. He loves horses, so that he wanted to represent that. But also he tells us about his process in making it, turning it from 2D to 3D, folding, cutting, etc. But also at the end, he's like, I made it for my little brother who loves horses too. So he's thinking not only about what he likes, but what his brother likes and how he might enjoy this stuffy. Another finding was the importance of supporting teamwork. The facilitators created a sense of belonging to the program with routines and practices such as using the Si se puede cheer every day at the beginning of the session. And they also encouraged the youth to work together and help each other. And they pointed out that youth taught each other when they had the skills or knowledge ahead of the program. And here's two examples. One of the facilitators pointed out that the kids were helping each other use the tool safely, which is very important, especially depending on what materials and tools you're using, and also how they responded to her encouragement of working together. And she also pointed out that some students would become teachers to other students, and this was the case very much in things like sewing. There were kids who already knew how to sew, and they would help each other. They would teach each other how to do it. So our conclusions um, are that integrating community values into making is a very positive element for a making project. It creates a supportive environment that promotes teamwork, collaboration, and a desire to give back to the community. It opens up opportunities for relational making, like all the examples that we saw of kids thinking about their siblings or their school community and how what they make can help, and engages the youth in solving community problems, such as if someone has a sunburn, they can use aloe vera from the planter um, that they have built for the community. If you have questions, feel free to contact us. We will be more than happy to chat with you about the program or any of the activities or the ideas that we have presented today. Our emails are on the screen, and we'll be happy to chat with you. We wanted to acknowledge that we got funding from the National Science Foundation, the AZL program, and these are findings from our work, and then they don't necessarily reflect the National Science Foundation's ideas or beliefs or points of view. And more than anything, we wanted to thank the youth for their participation in the program, in the data collection, and for sharing their insights, ideas, their objects that they made with us. Thank you very much.